This is episode 38 of the Home and Family Culture Podcast. I'm Jody Chafee. In this episode, I interview Corrie Wiedmann and Kelsa DeBrabant of Wonder Crate Kids. Welcome to the Home and Family Culture Podcast, where I discuss how families can discover and design their collective vision, values, beliefs, and traditions that influence their family culture. In this podcast, I interview experts who offer tips and tools to inspire families in this process of developing their family culture, and also successful individuals whose success was influenced by their family culture growing up. Be sure to check out the show notes for this and every episode at homeandfamilyculture.com, where you can subscribe for my weekly newsletter filled with updates on the podcast and blog, as well as other tidbits of information I like to add. You can listen to this podcast on iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, or YouTube. Please subscribe to your favorite medium. You can also find me on social media at Family Culture Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest, and at _Family Culture on Twitter. Be sure to comment, follow, like, rate, and share. But enough about all of that. Let's get to the episode. Thank you for listening. Corrie is a mom, educator, and entrepreneur at heart. She has a degree in elementary education and psychology and has spent years working in the field of education. Kelsa is a mom, designer, and teacher that has spent years working in the mental health field. In 2013, she launched her first business called Happy Patches. Wonder Crate is an educational box for kids that promotes social emotional learning. Kids gain real-world skills to be more confident, manage emotions, embrace challenges, increase social skills, and stay positive. Skills are developed with the help of a book, fun activities, an online lesson, and tips and resources for parents. So awesome. I love this idea of Wonder Crate. So welcome, Corrie and Kelsa.
Hello.
So glad you could join me on the podcast and talk about your awesome product and also go into this topic that you guys are covering this month about resilience, because that's definitely an awesome skill to teach our kids and incorporate that into our home culture, our family culture. And so I'd like to talk about that more with you, about what we can do as a family to incorporate these things into our family and our home culture. So first of all, tell us more about Wonder Crates. What is it?
Sure, I'll start with that. So Wonder Crate, you explained it very well. It's a box of fun and educational activities designed to help your child learn social and emotional skills. Mm-hmm. So each box focuses on a different life skill that's essential to happiness and success. We have boxes so far. We've covered resilience, which is what we're talking about this month. We've also talked about confidence, empathy, mindfulness. In May, we're going to actually be tackling emotions. In the future, we also are going to have a box on perseverance and grit. So any social emotional skills that we feel are essential to being happy and successful in life. And how it works is you can sign up for a subscription, or you can purchase an individual box. We also have individual boxes based on your needs. So you can sign up and get a new box each month. And each month we cover a new skill, or you can sign up or just look for a box that a skill you're focusing on.
Oh, okay. So it doesn't have to be the box that's for that month. You can pick whatever topic you like.
Yeah, so if you have a child who's really struggling, like maybe with confidence in social situations, we have a box on confidence on our website, so you can go and get an individual box as well.
Interesting. That sounds really cool. I love that idea of giving parents a resource to, every month or how they need it to be able to learn a new skill, especially these soft skills that seem to be kind of like a mystery. It's like this mystical thing almost of, we need to teach our kids soft skills and it's wonderful to have a resource that really makes it something that's more tangible and more real. So, Kelsa, tell us more about what kinds of things to expect inside a Wonder Crate subscription.
So we offer 3 levels of subscription. based on the needs of the family. So each level really builds upon itself. So whether you're looking for more of an introduction to, in a light and sort of informal way, to a soft skill, a social or emotional topic, or you really want to get pretty in depth, you're a homeschooler yourself and you really want a full activity that can be reusable, an extensive list of resources and other sort of activities that you can do as an ongoing basis with your child. We really try to provide something for each one of those scenarios. So basically, we build each box around a book. The book is really the cornerstone because we feel like the book is what is directly speaking to the child. We choose this piece very carefully because this is what the child's going to keep in his or her room and is going to go back to as, his or her own resource. So once we've chosen that book, then we build a box around that. We pick fun activities that the kids are going to want to engage in. We really strive for connection and the ability to sort of do these activities as a family. And we provide a booklet for the parents with tips, resources, additional ways to create conversation and connection within the family.
That's awesome. I love all that. I like the idea of the book thing, and that you can, kids really they're drawn to books and they want to, and then to be able to have an activity and things that relate back to the book. It makes it more real. It makes it memorable. That's really awesome. I love that. I love that idea. So what exactly would you say your overall mission is for Wonder Crates? Corrie, what do you think?
Yeah, so our goal is just to teach children the social and emotional skills that will empower them to explore their world. We want them to challenge their abilities, like think, what can I do? And look for ways they can use these skills, not just learn them, but like use them to make their community a little bit better, whatever that might be. So, we try to put a lot of tips in our, booklet for everyday activities they can do, and also how they can not just learn this skill, but then how can they use it in their everyday life.
Totally. Because that's something that more and more, I think, like I said, these soft skills, these things that, the emotional intelligence and empathy and resilience and things like that, I think that we are all in this, I think that our nation is in this crisis of going, how do we teach our kids these things? Because we can see, more and more, it feels like things are falling apart, or I don't know, I think that there's this worry or concern that our kids are not learning these skills. And so I love that it's something that you are creating so that parents can use tools and resources to teach these skills and make them a part of their daily life or monthly life, things like that. And so making it a part of their family culture. And so that's something that I want to talk about briefly is what is your thoughts about family culture and what does it mean to you?
So in terms of family culture, Corrie and I really believe strongly in the importance of social emotional skills and that sort of starting in the home. So when we talk about family culture, we believe that parents should be very intentional about what they include for books. And there are opportunities at many points within the day to go for something that has more value, that's more intentional. And when we go to the library, for example, I have a 7.5-year-old and a 5-year-old. I never miss going in the sections, finding the librarian, asking her what's new. And I put them in the room. I intentionally create an opportunity for them to explore it on their own. I don't push it. I try to engage in activities that make it very fun, very inviting. And it's just sort of what we do. It's not like a conversation about kindness or confidence. They wouldn't think that was out of the ordinary at the dinner table, right? They come home and they sort of are eager to share with me something that they did that maybe showed their resilience, because they know that that's something that we stress in our family. It's something that we encourage.
It's a value that you have. I love that. So it's something that it becomes a consistent part of your family because it's intentional. You make that a part of your daily life. And that's, yeah, exactly what family culture, when I think of family culture, it's something that it becomes a part of you. And you create those scenarios where you are teaching your children about what is valuable to you and your family culture. I love that. So how does your mission support the vision and values of resilient families?
Yeah, so I think with resilience, one of the big things is like building these connections.
Yeah.
And so we really do, like Kelsa said, we want to promote that within the family. And I think that being able to connect to people helps big time with resilience. And so just that connection in our booklet, like we've said, we like to have activities that you can do maybe around the dinner table.
Yeah.
We like to have a lot of conversation starter type things. We try to put some cards in each
I like that.
of like conversations you can have with your kids around some of these topics, just to get the conversation going, because we really think that's like key. And it is key to building resilience, is having that connection and people who you can go to when you need help. It's not figuring it out all on your own. It's knowing you have the resources, tools, and the people you can go to. I feel like that's one of the big things that we feel supports, that whole, our values.
That's awesome to be able to help to create those scenarios, like Kelsa was saying, where you are being intentional and then having this resource where you can intentionally put it into your daily life so that it's something that supports your vision and your values for your family. So speaking of resilience, what does that mean to you?
Resilience is really not just about encountering these sort of setbacks and challenges in your life, which are just inevitable. That's sort of something that you can't really avoid, but it's about not avoiding them, but actually using them as an opportunity to thrive and grow. That is something that has to be learned. Yeah. Resilience is one of those soft skills that has to come from direct experience. And when parents sort of shelter their kids, because we don't want them to feel pain, right? We want them to feel happiness. There's a big stress on happiness. Then we're almost doing a little bit of disservice, because without children encountering a certain level of setback and challenge, they don't have the sort of internal resilience muscle that builds up for them to know within themselves that they can get back up. They don't have the confidence. And you're sort of setting up this understanding of the world where there are good and bad experiences, and happiness is good. And anything that feels like it's hard or it might be uncomfortable is bad. And so when you set that up, then you're not sort of embracing and being open to all of life's experiences. Yeah. And it's really about being able to thrive at whatever life presents you, right? It's your mindset. So that's what we want to give to our children.
Yes. So before our interview, I was like, I want to look these things up, like word for word in the dictionary. Like, what does resilience really mean? And I loved some of the things that I found. It was like the power, ability to return to your original form, and after being bent, compressed, or stretched, like elasticity. So it's kind of a really interesting idea that to be able to bounce back was one of those things, that ability to not necessarily be completely destroyed by these challenges that we are presented with. And yeah, you're right. If we are constantly sheltering our kids, protecting them, telling them that the only form of living is to be happy, then they're not going to develop that resilience muscle to be able to bounce back and to stretch. And another word that I really liked that came out in my search was this indomitable. Okay. And it said that cannot be subdued or overcome. So it was like, if you have an indomitable spirit, if you have resilience, then you can come up against these obstacles or failure, and you don't see it as, oh, it's all over, everything is done, I'm a failure. But you see it as an opportunity to spring back and face the challenge as though it's an opportunity to grow or develop that muscle more. And like you said, that mindset, to have the growth mindset that challenges are opportunities and not complete setbacks, or that you are a failure, or that, you don't have to hold on to this like shame that you aren't good enough or things like that. And so, yeah, it is about having this attitude that life is a challenge.
Right.
And it's okay. In fact, it's just part of our existence. And that this message that it's not okay to feel like you're being challenged, or it's not okay to feel sad, or it's not okay to feel pain or things like that, then you're setting us that's like setting yourself up for ultimate failure, because you know what I mean? Because you're not going to be ready or be able to face those challenges as opportunities or stepping stones. Corrie, did you have anything else you wanted to add to that?
No, I just think, like you said, it's so important to learn it when they're young, because if not, like you said, they go out into the world, they go out to college, and they have a setback, a failure. It's going to happen. And then they just crumble because they don't know what to do. It's just like the end of the world because they haven't had to experience that before. So we can set up small examples of that while they're young, so they can try to learn that before it becomes a much bigger thing.
Yeah.
That's really what we want to try to do.
Yeah, because when they're safe and in your home and they stumble and fall, then it's like, okay, it's okay. It's not this huge catastrophe, and it's like a skill or a muscle that they're learning and developing that isn't going to result in this major catastrophe. And then as they grow that muscle, they're able, I mean, think about it. If you can't just spring back from a setback, that would be really hard to not be able to recover from a challenge, and to think of your children growing up and not developing that skill. But I think the challenge comes, though, because basically what you're saying is that we need to almost provide them with opportunities to struggle.
Yeah.
And so it's like, so how exactly do you do that? What kind of activities actually encourage this resilience?
Yeah, that is a good question. So yes, and you're right. It's exactly what we want to do. It's hard because as parents, we want to protect our kids. Like it's our instinct to, protect them. And when they're struggling, at least for myself, I wanted to just jump in and do it for them. But that does not help. So it is like little things you can do every day. And for example, just giving them some more independence, like have them make their own snack, or depending on their age, make lunch, just giving them that independence, because then they learn, hey, I can do something that's a little bit challenging. So whatever age appropriate challenges and chores around the house can help with that. Just activities where they step outside of their comfort zone.
Yeah.
Very small things like trying a different food, but any kind of experiences where they just get outside of their comfort zone, and also try some challenging things that they don't have instant success with. And let them learn that that's okay. And we don't have to jump in and save them. For example, even just some of these come up naturally. They need to learn how to tie their shoes. But a lot of times we don't have time because we're trying to get out of the door, and we're like, here, let's just do it for you. But just letting them struggle a little bit and guiding them, as opposed to just jumping in and doing it. We also in our booklet have some more, there's opportunities in just your everyday activities that are happening in your life that you can give your kids some experiences. But in our booklet, we go through some more detailed ones. A resilience journal we suggest, where you just write examples of your kid being resilient, and they can draw a picture to go with it. But it's a great way for them to look back and be like, whoa, I have overcome some hard things, so I can do this. Just almost like a little confidence booster of the things that they have had to overcome and how they've done that. It's just a reminder. So when they're having a hard time, a vision board, we kind of talk a little bit about doing something like that, just on a piece of paper, where they write about who they want to become, and places they dream of going, and things they would like to do, and things they want to learn. And that's just a good reminder of kind of when they're having setbacks, to look at the overall picture. Maybe it's hard right now, but I have to do this before I can get to where I want to be. I mean, this works for adults too. That big picture that they can see, okay, these are hard and they're hard right now, but I really want to do this because I want to get from point, A to B.
Yeah. So that's a really good, so like some language then could be like if they're struggling, say to tie their shoe or something like that, to remind them, look, I know you can learn how to do this. It's hard, but look how good you will feel when you do figure it out, or things like that. Would that be sort of along the lines of the kind of language that you could use to encourage them when they're struggling?
Yes, and just even like asking them, what's the hard part? Like, tell me what the hard part is. And then just having them repeat back. Sometimes they figure it out on their own when they're struggling with something. And if you don't just give them the information, just start asking some questions, like you said, what is the hard part? They'll sometimes figure it out themselves, or like, hey, let's brainstorm together, like come up with any idea you can for the next 5 minutes and see what they come up with, and say, no idea is too silly, but you're struggling with whatever it is. What are some things you can try, and see what they come up with. So more guiding them how to problem solve and how to overcome some of these challenges in their everyday lives, as opposed to just telling them how to do it.
I love that. I love that you put it back on their arena, like asking them, what can you do? Helping them to learn how to problem solve. Because I think one of the things I think of about resilience is self-efficacy. Something that I've learned on my own is like self-efficacy is like this understanding that you have the capacity for doing something that you think you can do. You have the capacity to achieve the desired results. And so to develop self-efficacy, you have to have these challenges and also, reminders that let me think this through. You have to develop that as a skill, even to have the efficacy within yourself that, look, I can produce those results. I can achieve that. I can grow to that capacity. And so it's something that even, as an adult that we have to develop too, is that internal locus of control that I can affect this change in my life. And so by asking them those questions and putting it back in their arena to think those things through, I think that really helps them to exercise that muscle. I like that a lot.
I'm excited when they get it and do it themselves too. I mean, like they're like, I did it all.
Oh, they feel so great. Yeah.
You can actually visually see when they do it themselves, how excited they get. It is.
Yeah. So just yesterday, my kids and I were folding laundry, and when we went on vacation, I had their clothes rolled together this weird way that I just was like, I'm going to pack so they can actually fit everything. I have 4 kids, so it's like packing is a chore. And so my son decided, he's 7, he decided that he was going to fold his laundry this way, which was you had to roll the laundry up inside of each other. And anyways, it was forming a pocket with the clothes. He tried so hard and he was getting angry and frustrated. He's very sensitive emotionally. He was getting angry, and I just kept having to be I know you can do it. And I showed him once or twice so that he, I could remind him how to do it. And he was just determined to do it. And I kept saying, you really don't have to do it if you don't want to. So that was a little, in some ways that kind of put it in his arena that I was if you don't want to do it, it's okay. But he wanted to do it. And so it almost was encouraging to him that I was giving him the choice, but not going in and doing it for him either. And so it almost empowered him to want to do it. And he was getting so frustrated and so angry. And he kept trying. And then he figured it out. And he's like, Mom, I did it. I did it. And he cheered. He was so excited. I'm like, yeah, high five. And he was so excited. And so it was really a great opportunity for him to feel that sense of resilience and self-efficacy, that he was able to do it. And he felt so good. And then another thing that you said that I really liked was this journal, that to be able to point out when they do have resilience, just being able to recognize them is really powerful. Just pointing out, hey, I noticed that you worked really hard on that thing. Or I noticed that thing that was hard for you, you actually did it super easy this time, or something like that. To be able to point those things out is really powerful to them. So I love that idea too. Anything you wanted to add to that, Kelsa?
So I guess just to tag on to that about just additional ways that parents can sort of encourage this. It's like what you're saying, Jody, about really setting them up for opportunities for them to impress themselves and really allowing them to sort of take their time and come to certain conclusions themselves. And as parents, we're busy. So we need almost like schedule in that time, right? So if we know ahead of time, hey, this is important to my child, that they, that he or she, really gets the shoe tying down this week, then that has to be built in. So, before you leave the house, before you have to go anywhere, that's something that, you're going to need to allot 10 minutes to. So it's just something that as parents, it's an added level of responsibility that we need to help set our kids up for success so that they can really have this sense of autonomy. The other thing that parents can really do is role model, and this is huge. Kids are always looking to us as sort of the guide to what is okay, what is not okay for themselves. So if we are role modeling resilience in an optimistic and sort of positive way, not to say they can't see. I think it's important for them to see when there are struggles, when there's anger, when there's heavy emotions, not to block that from them, but it's more about setting up what are the appropriate coping strategies, right? So it's allowing them to see the full range of, this is the strong emotion, this is the frustration, and now I can pull something out of my internal toolbox. And now I can keep my range of calm, my sort of green zone. And these are the different, and maybe working this out loud with them. Like, hey, I am super angry right now. And you know what? What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go take a walk. You want to take a walk with me? Or I think I'm going to call grandma because she always makes me feel better. Like, let's call grandma right now. And that takes a certain level of social skill development within the parent to really be able to do that. So it's a united effort, both with parents and kids, to really develop these skills for it to work in the home.
I love that, because I think it is tempting as parents to not let them see you struggle, so that they kind of get this oh, mom and dad don't know everything and or whatever. But that's not helpful. I mean, at some point, your kids are going to realize you're not perfect, right? And it's better that they just kind of know that all along, so that there's not this disillusion that, that our kids realize, oh, mom and dad are not perfect and I don't, whatever. But when they see you struggle and they see you go through that process and you modeling these skills, then they can see and actually want to look to you for that strength, I think, and the example and modeling how to cope. And so I really love that example. It does take, you got to talk it out. You have to okay, I'm going to work through this, or explaining, I'm really angry about this. And they're going, you don't look angry. or but even still, even if you're oh, I'm really angry about this, let them see that you're angry about it, but you're not hitting or punching or running around getting, going crazy, but you're going, I'm very angry about this. And so we need to work through this, instead of, I need to go and scream and hit something, or, you have to be able to talk it through and work it out and model and let them see you struggle, which is hard, because I think that, but there's so many benefits that come from that. There's so much that they see. If they can see that the people that they model aren't perfect, how much that really does resonate with them, that, oh, they're not perfect. I don't have to be perfect. We can work through this together, and it's okay to be imperfect. And so that's an amazing skill. I love that. I love that a lot. Thank you for sharing that. Awesome. So what are some of the books that you do recommend for parents that help demonstrate resilience and teach parents about how to cultivate that skill?
Yeah, and actually, and just to jump on what you guys are saying, I think that's so freeing for kids to have that, oh, I don't have to be perfect, and that mom and dad are not perfect. Even just having conversations at the dinner table about something that happened during the day at work, here's something a mistake I made, or whoops, I really messed up on this, and here's how I'm going to fix it. Like, well, my husband will talk about that at the dinner table. Like, oh, I did this today. It was kind of my fault, and that's what I got to do to fix it. So just letting kids see that.
Yeah.
But books, so we have, well, no one will be able to see it, but one of our favorites, you can see it, is the Yes Brain.
Yes Brain. Okay.
But yes, they've also, this pair, Daniel Siegel and Tina Bryson, have, they also authors of The Whole Brain Child, so people might know The Whole Brain Child. But the Yes Brain, it's all about how to cultivate courage, curiosity, and resilience in your child. Another book I'm actually currently reading is that I'm really enjoying is The Awakened Family, and it's how to raise empowered, resilient, and conscious children. And I'm probably going to mess up the author's name, but it's another one of our favorites, Shafali. But it's called The Awakened Family, if anyone's looking for it. Also, as far as books for kids, there's a lot of great books out there that help build resilience. We, in our resilience box this month, we have The Hugging Tree by Jill Nymark. And it's a story of resilience. It's not the giving tree, it's the hugging tree, about a tree that overcomes its obstacles. And in the back of the book has a whole section for parents on how to help your child become more resilient.
Oh, cool.
And then there's also conversation, some conversation starters at the end of the book about talking about resilience with your child. That's a great book. Other books for kids, we have all of these too. They're in our booklet, but we keep a section of resources for parents. The books for kids, there's a book called After the Fall, and it's about how Humpty Dumpty got back up again on the wall. It's a really cute story. It's by Dan Sadat. And then there's Rosie Revere Engineer, is a great story about a girl who's just trying to create things and thinks she's failing at creating things, and then realizes that it's actually not a failure. Yes, What to Do with a Problem. It's by Kobe Yamada, I think is how you say the last name, but it's another great children's book about just kind of more like that growth mindset, that power of that I can overcome obstacles.
So cool. I love learning about different books. I think books are a really awesome resource. It's just a treasure trove of so much information. And you take everything that somebody learned and you just download it into your brain, right? To be able to learn everything, their years of experience into one book. And I just love that so much. So thank you so much for sharing. Any last words of wisdom you guys want to share with our parents trying to teach our kids resilience?
I mean, we do on our website have, if you sign up for our newsletter, we have on our website, which is wondercreatekids.com, you get a free downloadable resilience calendar. So it has things to do for the whole month of April, just small things you can do each day to build resilience. And it's just these little 5-10 minute activities that will help build resilience.
Awesome. So it's wondercreatekids.com.
Yeah.
That's the website, the URL, and it's an awesome resource. That's so wonderful. So awesome. All right. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this conversation. I loved, it's such a great reminder that we really can help our kids to develop these skills without necessarily throwing them out into dangerous situations, right? You can just giving them opportunities to develop the resilience by working hard or doing something that's a little bit challenging can help them to develop that muscle to be resilient, to be able to recover and bounce back and have that grit, the capacity to try and do hard things, and to let them know that it's okay to fail. It's okay to be imperfect. It's okay to struggle. In fact, that's part of life. And that we want them to learn this skill while they're young so that it's not a catastrophically dangerous situation, right? That once they get older, that it can be. And so helping them to develop these skills is it's so crucial to their resilience in the long term to be able to succeed and face challenges that they will face as grown-ups and as adults. And I think too that as we are teaching them and helping them to develop the resilience, we as parents can also develop that resilience. And I love the tips and ideas you guys shared to be able to talk about these things at the dinner table or incorporate them intentionally into, our day-to-day life, to be able to give them opportunities to do hard things and to give them the space to try them and not rush them along or anything like that, but just give them that space. And so thank you for the resource that you guys are providing for parents to teach us about these things and then allowing our kids to learn these things. I love the idea that you're using books as the guideposts, because then, kids really can grasp these things, especially books that are spoken in their language, in their level, to help them to understand these concepts and these skills. So awesome. So awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you,
Jody.
Awesome. I don't know about you, but I really needed that message. I'm so thankful for Corrie and Kelsa and for their work, that they are helping families to develop these soft skills. And I love talking about resilience and the way that we can model resilience, especially to just have these conversations with our kids about the things that we're struggling with, or modeling with them, for them, how to cope, saying, let's go for a walk, or I just need to talk this out, or, things like that. I really appreciated that message. So you can find show notes from this episode at homeandfamilyculture.com, and you can find the books that were recommended, that Corrie recommended, at homeandfamilyculture.com/books, and that's my affiliate page for Amazon, and that will help to support the Home and Family Culture podcast to make purchases through my affiliate websites. So thank you so much for your support. There's really, really amazing books listed there, and Kelsa and Corrie they have really great recommendations for their books too. So I will include those on my list and in my show notes. Thank you again for listening. Again, please like and share and rate and comment. I appreciate your feedback, and thank you. Thank you so much for your support and for listening.